Hi, I'd like to share with you a bit about my journey of traveling around the world for 40 days. I keep thinking about the tale of Superman. And if you recall, there was a time in the movie where Lois Lane had died and he was experiencing so much grief. The only response he had was to just circle the planet. And that's how I felt. I felt that the grief that I held was so heavy for me to hold, and circling the planet was just my way of giving it back to the planet. Hi, my name is Kalima Fergus Ayele. I am an international school leader and CEO and founder of Round Trip Ticket Home. At Round Trip Ticket Home, we supply schools and school leadership teams with design thinking tools in order to build a culture of connection and belonging. Why Round Trip Ticket Home? Well, that comes from one of our popular myths at the moment, which is the Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy and her companion, which is a dog, Toto, find themselves in a strange and magical world, and they make some friends along the way. A scarecrow looking for intelligence, a tin man looking for his heart, and a lion looking for courage. And they're on their way to find the Wizard of Oz, who they believe will be able to provide them with what they're looking for. In the end, they find that the Wizard of Oz actually has no real power, and everything that they were looking for was always within them. If you haven't watched it recently, go ahead and look up Diana Ross's final scene in The Wiz where she sings Home, and you'll thank me later. Design thinking tools are a human-centered approach to problem solving, and they really give us an opportunity to look at the world around us through both lenses, if you will, both our analytical mind and our creative mind, and then set some intentional action for how we can innovate our way forward. When I think about my travel around the planet, I'm still so in awe of the opportunity I had to just see other ways of being in the world, and I'm excited to share more of that journey with you. I'm also looking forward to sharing a little bit of the behind the scenes, starting with the idea. I had heard about the round the world ticket many years before. I was definitely already living overseas at the time, but I remember hearing about it and saying that sounds really cool, like just being able to work your way around the globe. And it turns out that all the major airlines belong to these alliances. As far as I know, there are 3 of them, so depending on which airline you frequently travel with, you can look at see what they have to offer. In fact, I just compared all 3 to see which one had the best deal. I actually was very clear about where I wanted to end up. My oldest was studying abroad in Japan, and the plan was to spend the Thanksgiving holiday there, so I knew I wanted to end up there. And I have friends who are living in other countries, so I knew that could be part of my journey to map out. And I kind of started with just that vision of like, okay, here are some places I really want to go to. So the way the ticket worked is I had to stop in all 4 zones, and I had to continue to move in the same direction. And I believe there was no time limit. Like, I think you have a year to make it back to your home country, and spend as much time as you want. You just can't go backwards. First sort of challenge was where I wanted to stop in the first zone, which includes Europe and West Africa, I believe. And I really was cautious about having Europe be one of the early stops, just because it's a little bit more expensive. The euro tends to be stronger, and I decided on Madrid. I would just do 24 hours in Madrid, and it turned out to be a wonderful choice. I'm glad I made that choice. I had been to Madrid before, so there wasn't a lot of pressure to see a lot of things there. One of the challenges for me is the food, because I actually don't eat pork and I don't really like seafood. That's like all of the yummy things in Spain involve pork and seafood, but it was fine. I ended up having that Spanish tortilla which is like the potato and eggs. I ended up eating that a couple times, which was fine. And again, it was just for 24 hours. I was able to go and see a flamenco performance, which was incredible. The energy was just so powerful. And I remember sitting there and being in that energy and being like, yes, this is what I needed. Flying into Madrid from New York was perfect. It's just an evening flight got you there in the morning. So you feel like, sometimes you feel like you're sort of cheating time, right? When you arrive and you have a full day. So that's what it was. I had a full day. And then the next morning, I got up to get on a plane. I hope you enjoy my journey. I'll be sharing more along the way. And I'm always curious to know what's on your bucket list. Bye for now. I am going to do my best to record like little videos that highlight this adventure for each day. So just to give you a heads up, it is 45 days, including travel days, where I am going to be traveling with a round the world ticket. And I did purchase that ticket through One World's travel alliance. There's a couple, I think there's maybe 3 different travel alliances that do the round the world ticket. And so I did compare the 3 of them. There were specific countries that I wanted to visit in Asia. And again, full transparency, it's because I have reasons that I want to be in those places. Like I have people that I know and love who live there. So it's not exactly a solo travel adventure in that sense. It really is a friends and family connection situation. And so for the most part, there's someone who is living in a major city in that country who I want to connect with, and then I will take an excursion with or without them outside of that city, if that makes sense. And so the round the world ticket, I do think depends on your itinerary. Again, this is not like me as some travel expert trying to tell you what to do. I did use AI to map out the journey for me, which was pretty cool. I just kind of typed in how long I wanted to be in each place and what was suggested to visit. And so that way I had a bunch of ideas about what I wanted to see when I was in each country. So that's kind of my prep piece. I should say around the world ticket seemed like it was about half of what I would have paid if I had just bought the tickets, again, individually, just pricing them out. But again, obviously, as you know, ticket prices vary depending on your own timing and when you buy and whether you use miles and, whether you want to fly first class, all of the things, right? So everybody has to do to each their own. But yeah, this is my journey. And New York, day 1, leaving from New York and going to Madrid. Enjoy.